What up, what up, what up? Another episode of Oshin's View. Super rare appearance from our engineer, Mr. 85% himself. My man G Fitz.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all been? GD Fitz, BSN Presents. We here with Ocean's View. What's going on, man?
The crazy thing is, he's really part of the show. I actually be wanting you to be on the show more, you know what I'm saying, than you normally have, but you know, you have obligations and things you gotta do, so, you know, he showed up today because he always fits in, you know, and everything just continuously flows. That's rare, because a lot of times people, you know, when they're not doing something enough, you can kind of see the difference, and, you know, people be on some old, where the hell is Will at?
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Type shit.
Yeah, we try to keep it balanced, you know. When you're involved in it and you really love it, that's what's going to happen. So I'm always here for my man.
Max, so we already know one of the talks is Errol Spence got his ass beat. And I don't want to say it like that because that makes it appear that I knew it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be clear. That fight between Bud Crawford and Errol Spence was the first time I ever seen either one of them fight, period. Like, I'm not the biggest fight enthusiast. Like, once Mike Tyson was done, I checked out. So that tells you how long ago I've been
That's a whole 3 generations ago.
Yo, like I said, because I don't be having time for all this technical, what do they call it, the sweet science?
Yeah.
Nah, the knockout science. That's what I'm into. Drop somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't go to watch a fight to be like, yo, you saw his shoulder. No, you saw this nigga swing, he missed, boom! Solid right or left, go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we caught this weekend. When Bud Crawford went up against Errol Spence this weekend, I was kind of shocked. I ain't gonna lie, I was shocked. I had my money on Errol Spence. I thought he was gonna handle some business. Seeing that he had already dominated the welterweight division for so long and took out every champion, but the last champion was Bud, and Bud just showed him he was on a different class and a different level.
The crazy thing about it is, and I made a comment on my social media, Spence is still nice. He's still great.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't beat him. And I think a lot of times, like, people look at losing and failure, and then all of a sudden, you know, I also started hearing, man, Spence ain't all that. These are people that he's lost one fight, but now all of a sudden, he ain't all that. He wasn't the best boxer. He couldn't do this. I don't want to hear none of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like I said, I had no problem. I had no real dog in the race.
Right.
But I was like, yo, it's crazy because this dude is probably still great. And he'll probably beat up the next 5 or 10 people he was to fight. And probably lose to this dude again, though. It's just like that. Sometimes the person is just that much better.
Yeah, it's called styles. Styles make fights.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a guy that's shifty and quick, have good hand speed, and can move his head, you're gonna get a guy against a guy who's coming straight forward. The guy usually that's coming straight forward is gonna get his ass whooped. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Normally, he's gonna be the one that's gonna get his ass whooped when you can't catch another person that's standing in front of you because they're always moving. That's what happened in this fight, and I was kind of shocked because I hadn't seen anybody stand in front of the beast per se.
Okay.
Errol Spence Jr. was basically always the boogeyman. He would always come straight forward, he would walk you down, and then he would take you out. He would be the one that's going to do the beating, not get beat. But in this fight, this past Saturday, Bud said, hey, I'm going to be the stalker. And that's what he did. He just kicked his ass.
It's funny you said the boogeyman. I'm gonna come back to that in a second. But the way I looked at it was, and you know, Michael Jordan's my guy, because you know, people now, the younger cats and other people, yo, he played against plumbers. That's what I thought about this fight.
Mm-hmm.
He just made him look like a plumber. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's great. He just made him look like a plumber.
Mm-hmm.
Because that same plumber will go and knock out, like I said, the next few people with no problem.
Right.
But sometimes, every now and then, it's somebody that's just as great as you are, somebody's just that much greater than you.
Yeah, like for years, and we go back, and I don't want to kind of rag on Michael Jordan's era because we all know what Jordan did. But for years, people were saying that Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller were close. And I'm like, no way. Reggie Miller was good.
Very good.
But he was nowhere near Michael Jordan.
No.
But because Reggie was always in the playoffs and the only team he couldn't beat was Michael Jordan's led team, they gave Reggie so much praise. I'm like, nah, Reggie good. But there's levels. If Jordan is here, Reggie's about right there. He's good, but he's not great.
I don't even think that close, honestly.
Yeah.
He's probably, if Mike's here, Reggie's down here. But it's not bad. Like, you're not dissing me saying Michael Jordan's better than me. You're not dissing me. That's like you're not dissing Spence by saying Bud beat you up. You see what I'm saying? Like that. Like, that might be one of the only persons on the planet that can beat you in your weight class and all that other stuff, whatever. So
and that's the same thing that happened when Tyson Fury fought against Deontay Wilder. Wilder was knocking everybody out, kind of like Mike Tyson, like you were saying. You had a guy that was just basically cleaning up everybody, knocking them out, and we gonna walk out celebrating. But when he went up against Tyson Fury, a boxer who had skills, showed you ring generalship. That's what you were talking about earlier.
Okay.
That is what happens when you go fighter versus boxer. Fighters is like Kimbo Slice from Street Fighter. I'm gonna just come up there, I'm gonna throw some punches, I'm gonna knock your ass out. When you go up against a guy that's got skill, it's not too easy to just get inside and just try to bully him. You're gonna have to stand there like Lennox Lewis when he fought Mike Tyson.
The crazy thing is this. The average, let's just take it to the personal. The average person in the street really can't fight.
Exactly.
That's the funny thing. And I was like, a street fight, think about this. A boxing round is how long? 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Street fights aren't 3 minutes. Not continuous swinging. After this is how street fights go. You get a flurry for about 20 seconds coming from both angles. And then after that 20 seconds, it's a whole bunch of this.
Yep.
So what's up? Yeah, nigga swing. Yeah. Like, it's a whole bunch of talking. I remember one time, I was fighting a dude, and we gave that flurry maybe for about 30 seconds. He done caught me a few times. I caught him a few times. Then it turned into a talking match. It came from to, yeah, nigga, what's up? Yeah. So what's up? Hold up. So I was like, yeah, what's up? So he was like, so then it turned from what's up to, had you just listened when I said this, and then he started talking about his side. Next thing you know, we up here just talking about the fight, talking about why we didn't have to fight with both our hands on our knees.
So who won the fight?
I know it's cliche to say a tie, but I think he hit me harder, so I personally felt the way. But I think by the CompuBox numbers, I caught him about 3 or 4 times. I may hit him 4 times, but he hit me twice, real hard. And in my mind, it was just like, my joke was like, yeah, what's up? Pop, 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 pop. Because I'm not really a knockout artist. I'm more of a punch you in your face so many times you just wish I knocked you out. And he just caught me with 2 solids. Boom, boom. And I felt it. I was just like, whew. And I don't think he knew he had me, though. That's the funny thing. That's the only thing that saved me, because he didn't really want to fight. And when he caught me, I don't think he realized how much it affected me, because I kind of was just like, yeah. I started doing a whole bunch of this to him. Hey, what's up? What's up? Like that. And then we wound up talking it out. Once we talked it out, I was like, Jesus Christ, good looking. And that was it.
So the CompuBox numbers was in your favor?
It was in my favor, but I think the power punches clearly went to him.
Okay. So
clearly went to him.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. That's cool though. That's good, man. I ain't never had to really worry about that on my end. I was always the one going to talk my way out of it.
No, I'm just saying, once you win it, you win the fight. But it was just, see, my thing was, most times if I talk my way out of a fight, no punches are thrown, period. But like, once you swing, all bets are off. It's now it's time to fight or whatever. So, but that one I chilled. But, I saw him in the barbershop, right? we talking, what the barbershop, that's what it is, 1,000,000,001 topics. Black people, we don't get a whole lot of franchises. I'm talking about like in cinema history.
Right.
We don't really get a whole lot of franchises. And what I mean by franchises, for those watching, Rocky, Sylvester Stallone.
Mm-hmm.
He even had the Expendables. Nightmare on Elm Street, that's a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Englund is not black.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like that. That's who played Freddy Krueger. The Jason series, not getting some mass, but that's something different. But we don't. John Wick. Keanu Reeves, actually, he's had 2 franchises. The Matrix and John Wick. Let that sink in for a second. Because we're not talking about okay movies. Every time these movies come out, they're the blockbuster for that time. They're the blockbuster. Like, they're raking in the dough. And Keanu Reeves literally has not 1, 2 under his belt. And I like Keanu Reeves as an actor. I think he's a great actor, but on the low, as weird as that sound, on the lower scale of greatness, because he's kind of like an action figure type things. He does a lot of, because I don't know I know what his movies are when it's just a lot of him talking. He was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, things like that. But he's got 2 franchises. When I think of somebody black with a franchise, I want you to jump in. I came up
I was about to give you one.
Go ahead, give me one.
What about we're gonna have to major pause on that one. I'm sorry.
Ooh, that was trying to give you one.
Get a major pause.
That was crazy.
That's crazy. But what about Will Smith? Bad Boys. Could we consider that a franchise, or is that a durable franchise because Martin and Will kind of?
I think maybe I'm being too nitpicky, but I feel once you have a co-star, that kind of, I'm not gonna say it waters it down, but it's not the same effect. It's just not the same effect. And maybe I'm cheapening it, and that could be it. And people watching, they'll probably have their ideas on it too. But that's Martin and Will Smith. Like, you're not gonna have Bad Boys, I guess 4 coming out without Martin or without Will in it. Like, they both have to be in it, like that. So I'm thinking Solo. Solo. I came up with Blade.
Yeah,
for Wesley Snipes.
You give Wesley Snipes that. What about the Expendables? I'm sorry, not Expendables. What's Denzel Washington's joint? He's getting ready to come up with another one.
Yes,
I can't
Equalizer.
Equalizer, yeah.
Equalizer. And you know what's crazy? Somebody brought that up too. This is weird because Denzel at first said he doesn't really do sequels. And now he's on his 3rd one.
Right.
On his 3rd installment. So in that sense, he has a franchise. Or whatever. He has a franchise. People might not like this one. Creed.
I was getting ready to ask you, Michael B. Jordan having Creed and actually branching off from Rocky and taking it and making his own. And like, I honestly enjoyed Creed 3. And then watching the way that he's risen from 1 to the 2nd to the 3rd, it's like, man, this is kind of good, And I don't know if they're going to make a 4th one, but that's a franchise.
Ryan Coogler, shout out to him, black director, yes. That's a franchise.
Now, does it matter the genre of comedy? So are we either doing comedy?
No. I'm anything across the board, because somebody else hit me with Rush Hour. See, but that's Jackie and Chris. See, the thing about it is this. You look at Julia Roberts. You know how much she gets paid a movie?
Nah, tell me.
About 24, 25 million. That's what she gets out of bed for. She's not getting out of bed for less than 25. So it's not about franchise.
Pretty Woman must have paid off well.
Huh?
I said Pretty Woman must have paid off well.
I don't think she was at that level at that point. or whatever. You know, we already know there's a disparity in you know, with white actors and how they get paid and stuff. But I don't want to get into that. But once she's arrived, yeah, that 25 it could be the worst movie ever. You're not getting her. She's not coming to the studio for less than 25. People were talking about Chris Tucker with his $20 million. No, he gets $20 million to do Rush Hour. That's not his going price. That's not his. And I want people to know that it's not knocking it, but it's like, yo, there's different levels of how things are done. Like Will Smith has a going rate.
Right. So when I look at another franchise and it's a cult movie that evolved in something great, Ice Cube with the Friday series and the Friday franchise.
Friday franchise. Barbershop franchise. I don't want to cheapen it because I think we do that to each other a lot too, just because they're not. Now, neither one of those movies are ever. They're hood classics,
right,
or whatever. But Ice Cube also, to his defense, nobody's giving him $100 million
right,
to make those movies. So,
but also Ice Cube, he has another franchise with Nia Long. When
are we there yet?
Are we there yet? You can consider that part of the franchise. They did a couple movies with that. Well, let me ask that question.
Go ahead.
Is a franchise have to be a minimum of 3 movies, or does it have to be a minimum of 2 movies?
No, I believe it has to be a minimum of 3. Jeepers Creepers is a franchise because I think they got 3. I think they got
like Final Destination, Scream.
Final Destination, the Scream franchise. Nev Campbell. She's not in every Scream though.
She's not in the last one that just came out, 6.
That's the one that was in New York?
Yes, that's the one.
I didn't watch that yet. How was that?
I thought it was pretty decent. I just watched it the other day.
And I was actually gonna watch that too. I was gonna watch that. So good. I'm gonna take your advice. So since we're giving out advice, let me give you some advice. They clone Tyrone. Now, unless you have 2 hours to waste, go watch. But if you don't, do not. As simple as that.
Okay, it's not a good film to watch.
I know the people. I went on a rampage on social media, and you know, people was getting at me. Oh, we talk about your loss, you just don't get the message and all this other stuff. But every time I said, what is said message, nobody can answer. And then they talk, yeah, it's the clones and all this other stuff. I was like, this is what people say when something sucks. They try to make it so deep that, oh, well, you just didn't get it. I'm looking like, let's just say it was that deep and the messages were there. I feel like this. There's execution and then there's reality. You can have the best plan in the world to rob a bank. It could be flawless. But if you don't execute it, your dumbass is either going to get shot or go to jail.
Right.
It's simple as that.
You're done. You can't.
It's simple as that. So I'm just looking like, I watched it. It has 0 replay value for me. I don't ever have to watch it again. So I'm a connoisseur of movies. So I definitely wanted to enjoy it. But I also I got to the point, this is when I knew it wasn't good. When I was at the point of no return. You know what the point of no return is? When you're watching a movie for so long, knowing, okay, this shit said it's 2 hours, and I've been sitting there for about an hour, 25 minutes. It ain't gonna be too much more that's gonna happen unless it's gonna be one hell of a closeout. And at that point, I was like, I gotta ride it out now. I gotta finish watching it now.
I think a lot of us, we get caught up in the now trend. And when I say that, even if you look at Netflix, they literally post a movie and they say trending now. And it's almost just like Twitter, aka X now, because they've changed the way that platform is called. But when you put a new trend, everybody starts watching it. They say, "Oh, it's good. You gotta watch it." I tend to wait on any of those movies because I want to see what everybody's review is first before I critique it and watch it. That's why I haven't watched it yet. But I'm gonna check it out. I don't got much to do on Sunday, so I'll check it out on Sunday before the football season gets going and see how it is. But the way you making it seem make me say I don't even want to hit the play button.
All right, guys, because I'm telling you, No, I'm not even going to kill it because I wish it was somebody here that actually seen it so I can chop them down or whatever. But hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm just saying, if you got 2 hours to waste, enjoy. That's all I gotta say.
I don't want to waste my time. But yeah, it's not a lot of black actors solo franchises. So that's true.
Nah, it's definitely not a whole lot of those. You know what I also, because we want to keep it at the movies for a minute. So I had a question that we were talking about, and I was like, this is the age of the creative, right? The creator, all these new ideas. Why do they keep trying to remake movies from the 80s and 90s? Like, where's all the brand new ideas at? This has nothing to do with LeBron, but it does. Why would you try to make House Party over? I already didn't like the whole Space Jam thing. Like, this point is, before we get to Space, never mind, I just want to get through Space Jam. The reason why I personally don't think you should have done it over is because you're already being compared to Michael on every front anyway. Don't do that. Like, my thing is, you're LeBron James. Make things that are opposite of what he done did. Like, I just didn't see nothing good could come from that. And I actually watched Space Jam 2. It wasn't bad. It was cool. It was cool. I give him that. But then, when I hear that he's coming out with House Party, I was like, Jesus Christ. And it kind of came and it went. That's why all these movies be going straight to like, on these
HBO
joints and all that, because the big theaters, the big studios is like, we ain't doing this again.
Yeah.
We know who you are, and we know you got pulled and all this other stuff. Nah, you can put this over there. But it's like, it's a whole bunch of that. I'm not gonna blame Eddie, but I didn't want Coming to America 2 to come out.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I played this. I'm never watching that again. And I only watch it because
I was about to say, I watched that movie once. Yeah. And I thought that was gonna be like, oh, are they gonna recreate it and bring some new comedians in and try to go over the top? But it was just so dry. And I was like, oh man, like it had little moments here and there. I thought Wesley Snipes actually had a really good little role for what he was doing, but it wasn't something that I enjoyed. But I get your point though about how, and not to knock LeBron, but where's the creativity? Where's the, let's be new and transparent with something new, not recreate something that we've already seen to try to blow it through the roof in this era.
And all you're trying to do, and then when they recreate them, all they do is modernize it. And that's what makes it whack to me too.
It's just like White Man Can't Jump.
Oh my God. Like this, did you actually see that? So you tell me about it, because I refuse to watch it. I'm sorry. I refuse to watch it.
I don't want to break anybody's bubble on it, but again,
go ahead.
It's kind of like Tyrone.
I'm not watching
it's kind of like Tyrone. If I
got a couple hours
to waste, go ahead and go check it out.
So what made it bad? I'm gonna tell you what I think made it bad, but you actually seen it, so go ahead.
I just didn't like the modernization of it. Like when Woody Harrelson and Wes did that, it was something unique, different, and it kind of brought the street basketball 2-on-2 style there. And this one, nah, it just didn't feel right to me. It just didn't fit right.
Because it's like a trick that you've already seen done 1,000 times. And it's like, okay, you're not surprising us. And let's just talk about things like, and we'll keep it there. You know what made Martin dope to me? The show. You know what made Martin dope to me? Because Martin wasn't rich, for one. He wasn't rich. He worked at the radio station.
Right. And got fired.
Clearly, he made money. You know, he had his own apartment and all this other stuff. He even had a car and all that. But he actually like it was known throughout the show, nigga, if I don't get paid, I might lose something. Someone that I eat. That's the crazy part. Gina, she's always made money on it. She's got more than a few raises on the show. She never had her own apartment. She always lived with Pam until her and Martin. And then on top of that, when her and Martin got married, they still lived in an apartment. See, to me, even though those was towards the ending seasons, I didn't like that because they never elevated. Gina clearly was making six figures. Martin at that time had the television show.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta get a house. And even when they did the whole house thing and stuff, it didn't transpire. But I'm looking like, I think that's like an underlying tone with black sitcoms and things like that. It's like they don't really get there all the time. And certain things are like, they're roadblocks that shouldn't be roadblocks. Take me down here. I was told one time by a white dude that Married with Children is the white version of Good Times. Oh, it's no, that is ridiculous.
I was about to say, because in Married with Children, they owned the house. And
Continue,
they
exactly.
owned the house. She was a stay-at-home mom, and he worked at the shoe store. I don't even remember if Al Bundy owned the shoe store.
No.
Or if he just worked there.
No. He was the manager of the shoe store.
Right. James was in between jobs for years.
Every other episode.
Until he got the job to go to Mississippi, and then he died.
No, it wasn't Mississippi. It wasn't Mississippi.
It was Mississippi.
It was Alaska.
But wherever he was at, he
died in Alaska.
Yeah, he died in Alaska. But they were supposed to be moving. Remember, they were supposed to move?
But they was going to move to another side of Chicago.
Okay.
To like South Shore Drive. I think that's a real place. Like
I just remember the episode when he died. They had the little party, and they was joking about.
They was all partying and stuff.
Yeah, about Mississippi. The M.
No, they were going.
Yeah, they
right.
They was
so they supposed to move to Mississippi.
Yeah, they was getting ready to move to Mississippi, which still in my mind now thinking about it don't make sense. Because why would you want to move to Mississippi in 1974?
After you done left. Hold up, didn't he leave Mississippi?
You left Mississippi
to go to
Chicago to go back to Mississippi. Going back home. But even with that, Married with Children is not anywhere comparable to Good Times. Good Times, they were living basically whatever dollar I could get, not paycheck to paycheck, because they wasn't even getting jobs. I don't even know how they stayed in the apartment that long.
First of all, no, James always did have a job. He got James' go-to job was the car wash. He could always go back to the car wash. Or when he would talk about what he used to say, he's like busting a greasy spoon. Because, he would do like manual labor and stuff. But the car wash was always there for him to work at. First off, their rent was like $89.
Right.
Yo, remember the episode where he had to play pool for the rent money. And they were like, he was like, there's only one way I know how to get the money. And he goes to the closet. Now, normally, you think he gonna get the hatchet.
Yeah, get the strap.
He pulled out a pool cue.
Uh-huh.
And JJ was hype about it. But let's talk about, they threw all kind of messages in Good Times. But for every message, it was kind of like, all right, this is the opposite of that. Okay. JJ was a petty thief.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's for one. But he was an artist. Only people that really everybody believed in his artistry, but whenever they used to press him about his grades, Michael was the only one like, he don't gotta be super smart. He's an artist. Like, let him live. They would only compare Thelma and Michael when it comes to grades.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say something that has to be said. Thelma was like one of the first young thoughts. She was one of the first people don't want, and I like Thelma. I actually seen her in a spot down here. She still looks like Thelma.
Yeah, she does.
Bernadette, what is it, like Standless or Standis or something like that.
But yeah, she still looks just like her young self. Yeah, she does.
Bernadette Stands or something like that. So, but as good looking and stuff, Thelma was looking for that come up a lot.
Wasn't she supposed to get married twice on the show?
The eBay, the African dude, and then Keith, the NFL dude.
And JJ tore his knee up.
JJ tore his damn knee up, and he moved right into the projects with them.
Yep.
Or whatever. What I think one of the biggest messages in Good Times was the fact that James never cheated. He never cheated on Florida or whatever. And he kind of doted on her too. Like, clearly he had eyes. They had little episodes where he'd be like, good Lord. But he never really stepped out. And I thought that was like a big thing. This is what I truly believe with Good Times. I believe the directors and people that created it thought it was going to have a certain effect, but it was mirroring a lot of what was going on in society. Because like Good Times, that's another thing, but I'm not even going back to that Married with Children thing. You ain't never watched Married with Children and was like, oh, that was a real episode. It was straight comedy the whole time. When JJ got shot. This nigga got shot. You know what I'm saying? Michael walked out the house, he gets beat up. Thelma grabbed up. Like, when Thelma got grabbed up, that's when James grabbed the ratchet at that point. But I'm just saying, like, this is real stuff. That now, real is different because it all boils down to your experience and how you grew up.
I was about to say, because even in no disrespect to anybody that's been in there, but you might see a family that might relate to more or less, what's my Archie Bunker, for an example. You might have a family that kind of relates to what Archie Bunker went through. You might actually have a family that does relate to what Al Bundy went through. Where you might have that stay-home mom that don't do shit but smoke all day. And then you got him going to work all night long. You might have that. So, not to knock those people, but I know from where my reality was and where I'm at, I'm looking like, yeah, I've seen that family that was struggling and trying to make it. Even though I know I came from a home that had the mom and the father too. We were low middle class.
Right.
But looking at it from their end, like, Good Times relates to a lot of people, especially in our community.
I say I kind of grew up Cosby-ish in terms of finances. I think Good Times in terms of morals and values on things.
That's what I'm getting at.
Like that's where I was. That's why I always kind of related to a lot of that. Not the struggle in terms of that, but I related.
It's kind of funny, and I don't want to make it seem like we on religion tip. But
no.
Remember the episode when Michael asked Mom about why he had the white Jesus on the wall, not black Jesus, right? Some homes are like that. I know when I was young, my grandmother had a picture, that same exact picture. And the same exact picture that Florida had on her wall, my grandmother has on her wall right now to this day. And she has the 10 Commandments on the wall, the same exact book. Open it up, it's right there on her wall. I've always been taught that God is all colors, right? I don't have no problem with it. But some people really look at it like, Jesus God ain't white, he's black, you know? So that episode relates to some people in that narrative.
The crazy thing with that episode, there were a few telling things in that. So remember the episode where all this good stuff was happening to them because of the black Jesus. First of all, it was Ned the Wino.
Yep.
That's the one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's why Florida, give it context, that's why Florida didn't want the picture up there because she was like, it's not even Jesus, that's Ned the Wino. And it was Walona who was like, yo, you know, that I got a vision, that's Ned the Wino. So all the good things that happened to him. He got the job, found some money, things just started going. And James said something though. She was like, she tried to remove it, and he said, nah, I'm not letting go of the best thing that's ever happened to me. Take that in for a second, because I think that line got glossed over when he said it. They were that poor, and it was that distraught in their life with things that he was like, yo, this one day of these things happening, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me, that I got going for me. Like that. And I was just like, wow. Like, when despair kicks in, it's a real thing. You know, and you just don't know how you'll react when despair kicks in. I've personally been there, so I know. I have my window. Of that. So it was just like, okay, I can get it. But the episode that really got me on Good Times was when James' father came back. And James wasn't really rocking with him still. His family was still trying to embrace him and stuff, but James was like, nah. They went into the bedroom, and because James just kind of told him off, went into the bedroom, and his pops was like, apologizing, trying to be like, yo, I didn't know what I was doing, da 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 da. I thought if I left, things would be easier for y'all, da 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 da. And then James was like, yo, man, he said, I get all that, and he said, it's times around here, I don't know if we coming or going. He said, but I stayed because I knew if I left what it would do to my family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that hit me. Honestly, that was before I had my son and stuff. I kind of was like, yo, I'm going to stay in that vein. You know what I'm saying? If I could. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like, you know what? Because things can go left in a marriage quick.
Big time.
You know what I'm saying?
Big time. I mean, none of it is perfect.
Yes.
But if you can stand through the storm, yeah, keep going. I love what you said about how James stayed and never had any infidelities that we know of, right? Mm-hmm. And now I'm kind of reverting it back to when we was talking about remakes, looking at the Fresh Prince, and then we have Bel-Air. Mm-hmm. Kind of notice on the way of Fresh Prince, the original Fresh Prince, Phil never had no major issues with nothing either. He had eyes, but he never did anything. Yeah. But now when you look at the new version of Bel-Air, notice that he's working with this new co-worker that they got the new firm with.
I never watched it.
You've never watched the new Bel-Air?
Nah.
Oh man, you gotta watch it, man. Because it was all right. Because it goes into what we're talking about, of the way that it's being modernized.
Okay.
We noticed that you just said James and Phil, the black fathers of TV sitcoms from the 80s and the 90s. They never had any infidelities. They didn't do anything. Even Martin.
Yeah,
didn't do anything.
Oh yeah, everybody went as far as looking.
Yep. But they didn't go to the extreme.
They never crossed the line, and I just thought that was by design, and that's what it was like. Yo, it felt like TV had responsibility, and it was like it kind of catered towards the audiences they were looking for, and it's like I just felt that a lot of sitcoms and things from the 80s and 90s, they didn't force their comedy. They didn't force unrealistic, expectations on it. Now, what kind of got me, regardless of that, Bernie Mac, he's a comedian. I thought his show should have been a lot more telling and been more of himself because he was up. He was already financially up on the joint. So that's why, he took over his sister's kids and all that other stuff or whatever. But it was kind of like, all right, can we see more of you on this level just working? I'm not saying you're going to be super rich or not, but okay, not married with children. What am I talking about? My wife and 3 kids. David Wayne's joint. Yeah. He had a business. They did well, but it didn't have the feel that they were super rich. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was one of those, he has a business, it's growing, and he's hit some strides. But it didn't have to feel like, oh, you don't have to work at all, this, that, and the third. Because I feel like when you put too much money into the household that way, it gives that'll turn people off because it's like, I don't relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't relate to that unless you just relate to that. Right. Or whatever. Maybe that show All American.
I never watched that.
Watch them joints on Netflix. Right. First off, those kids, they got the most problems of any kids in the world. Like they wake up with problems for no reason too. You know what I'm saying? They got money. Yeah, they got money. No, some of them got money, some of them don't. But it's just like, oh, just so frustrated. They're the most frustrated generation ever with that kind of stuff or whatever. So, I just feel that these movies and these directors need to start or bringing some new writers, bringing some new actors, bringing something fresh, because remaking these movies from the 80s and 90s, they're not working out the same way. So they need to leave it alone. Do you think, matter of fact, I'm not going to say do you think, there's a certain population, and this is probably the danger zone, but we got to go there. A man will deal with a woman that has multiple kids from a previous marriage before he really deals with a woman that has multiple kids with multiple partners? Do you believe that that's a thing?
Yes and no.
Go ahead.
Yes and no. So, as a man that is married to a woman that had a child previously before I was in the situation, I'm one of the ones that's like, I married the woman, but I had to meet the child and, you know, get used to the child and understanding what was going on. It basically became a family before we went to that next level, which was marriage. Like, got to know the girl, then got to know the daughter, became one, started treating her like my own. She is my own, you know. I don't call her my stepdaughter, that is my daughter. So I've been in that side, but I also seen people who will literally say, oh, she got 3 kids by 3 different guys. I ain't gonna deal with her. I'm gonna knock her down, but I ain't gonna deal with her. You get what I'm saying?
Nah, the thing, I know, I clearly get what you're saying, but a lot of women will give pushback to that mentality. And I think the reality of a lot of the situation is we are judged by our past. Even though we all say we shouldn't be, we are. And the problem with that is I don't believe it's anything wrong with the judgment of it. I do believe if it defines you a certain way. Because decision making is decision making. I don't think women are going into situations thinking, well, I'm just gonna have a kid with this guy and then I'm gonna move on, have another kid, move on. I don't believe that's what they're doing. But then when the reality of what it is happens, it's kind of a hard argument to pull off. You see what I'm saying?
And why is that?
It's because it's a few things. As a guy, dealing with one father with the kids, that's something that it appears it can be a lot easier in terms of understanding where your place is with the kids and with the families, because y'all are a joint family at that point. That's why I used to have a thing I used to always say before I had my kid and everything. I used to always be like, y'all mess with a chick that got kids. She can have the father and all that stuff, but he got to be in jail or dead. Because I seen so many horror stories from the other side. You know what I'm saying? The father always popping up, feeling entitled to do whatever. And then you add the fact, if you don't get that bond with the kids, they're going to forever be like, you're not my dad. And when you're doing everything for that kid because you accept them as part of the package, which I ain't saying because women say that, but part of the package, but they're thinking, because kids, they'll take all the perks that come along with being the stepfather until it's time for the discipline to play a part. Now it's, you're not my dad. And not only the kids, what happens when the actual mother is kind of siding with that? Well, you're not our father. To me, now that causes a problem.
Oh, big time.
Huge. Like, never mind what the kids say. I expect him or her to say some shit like that because they're just trying to get their way. But when you know you're there, paying the bills, being a disciplinarian, you stepped into that role, and your response is, well, you're not the father. See, that's when I gotta pull back. Especially, that's why I know for me, that's why I used to be like, well, if I deal with somebody and they got kids, hopefully they're grown or something like that, which is actually my situation. But the crazy thing is, my son's siblings are all adults. So I don't have to, they're not looking for, that whole fatherly thing. They know who's their father and stuff like that. So it's pretty much, I'm still solo dolo with it. But imagine if that kid was 10 and you bring another one in. Because I know me. Oh, I get real territorial. I'm like, oh, my kid done 8. You know what I'm saying? It will be another one of those McDonald's situations over and over again.
Right.
They're like, did you get it for everybody? Who's everybody? He ate.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be like that.
So I know for me,
Right.
when I got with my wife and my daughter, she was 1. So I kind of got a kid, you know what I mean? Like, I had a kid already, like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I raised her, and this goes back to good times, the way that they raised their family, that's how we did it. Like, cool, I got this. This is my kid. I don't call her my step. So I raised her like she was my own, and I always treated her like she was my own. And I never had that issue, because her father was there, but he was kind of like in and out, because we were young.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, all right, you want to act crazy. I don't got time for the crazy, because I'm still here for this kid and this woman. This is my family. You messed up. Like, that's my mindset. Like, that's, on that side of it, it's like, bro, you messed up. You know, we here now, which is me. So I'm here with my wife, and I got Annie. We all here. So I've raised her from 1 to where she is now at 20, right? So I basically raised this child, and I've never had that issue at all. Like, I think the closest I got to that "you're not my father" mode was when she started smelling herself 15, 16. Because she was mad about some shit going on at school. So it's like, all right, well, you ain't my father, I'll go ask him. Okay. Like, and I'm serious. Like, my mindset was, oh, you really think he's gonna change up now and give you whatever you want? Like, go ahead and try it. I will allow you to do that. Leave out of my house. But make sure when you leave, the clothes that you got on your back, anything you want to take out of here that I paid for, that's mine. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, that was my mindset. Was like, all right, you can go and have your moment, but remember, how are you going to get over to the other side of town where your father is at? Make sure he's coming to pick you up. Make sure that you have everything that you didn't get from me and my wife. Because guess what? I'm going to tell her straight up. If you give her anything that we bought for her, oh, me and you going to have a problem now. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So I ain't never had that issue. Okay. So that it's levels. Again, that's what it's always about. It's levels on how you do it.
Mm-hmm. Nah, so dudes will knock them down.
Oh yeah.
Knock them down all day.
Oh yeah.
But I'm looking at this clip online where the guy was talking about how I just feel, like I said, your past can define you to a degree. Because if you've been messing with a certain type of dude, and dudes, if you've been messing with a certain kind of woman, it's the same for you too. Mm-hmm. If you messing with all these women that's running around being loose and everything, then all of a sudden you saying, oh, you want this? But this is the thing.
But hold up, before we run off of there real quick. When you say running around being loose, because I know some women who have been in long-term relationships and had multiple kids, and then the man decided to leave. You get what I'm saying? And the perception would be, oh, she's got 3 kids. She's loose. Because they know she had the first 2 by this one, and then she had this one, and then she's getting ready to get this one. So we would consider her, quote unquote, loose. But sometimes life happens. You never know. Life
actually is going to life. And the thing about it is this. The problem with a lot of that, the loose, quote unquote, loose behavior and things like that. Loose is interpreted as easy,
right?
Because there's no, you're not putting anything of, you're not doing anything of substance to get these women. Everything that you're doing is based on the physical and the material. And if you have an abundance of that, there's a percentage of women that are going to go for you just because you have these things. Mm-hmm. You didn't want these women that you might have to earn and show them that there's more to you, this, that, and the third. Mm-hmm. Kind of splitting hairs with that one, because I don't believe guys go after the most promiscuous women. I think we go after literally the physical, you know what I'm saying, like that. And I believe you're gonna have to be attracted to who you want to mess with. You're gonna have to be attracted. That's men and women alike. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, values gotta play a part somewhere. And I don't think values kick in until you done rip and ran the streets a little bit.
Right.
Like that. And I think that's both, like I said, both men and women. But women get the brunt of it because if they mess with 2 dope boys in a row, that's your stigma. Mm-hmm. This is who you mess with.
This is what you like.
This is what you like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that. But then it's like, it's almost like they can never come back across the water to, I like
and
this kind of guy.
That's something as a people we do. We put that stigma on.
You think that's black people?
And I really think there's a lot of black people
All right, go ahead.
that do that. Like, our first inclination is, oh, she got 2 kids by 2 different people. Oh, she's loose. She's fast. That's something else they would say. She's fast. Whereas we could say, yo, she was in a 10-year relationship with this guy, and it just didn't work out because they were young.
I think. Hold up, I want you to continue, but I don't think women can be fast. Only girls can be fast.
And that's cool. That's cool.
No, I'm just saying, no, because when you opened the door for it, you didn't say anything wrong. But I was like, I just tried to remember the last time I called a woman fast. Because a girl is considered fast because she hasn't matured up here, but yet she's using her body and things like that to manipulate situations. This is why we call them fast. I remember when we call a fast woman, we look at like it's more so like she made a decision. She made a decision. Whether we like it or not, she made a decision. She's not fast. Like nobody. It's almost like nobody manipulated you. You knew exactly what you were doing, and you did what you wanted to do.
Right.
So you're an adult. You're a grown up. You made your decision.
You made adult decisions. Now some of them make adult decisions at a young age, and that's where the quote unquote fast stigma comes in. And you know who the number one person or number one group?
You about to name somebody?
No.
Oh shit!
Never that.
What's the thing is?
You know the number one group that does the blame game are church people. You ain't never noticed that? They're the first ones to say, "Oh, I don't want to deal with that fast ass girl." I'm serious. Like these are the people that's supposed to say, "Yo, giving everything to Christ, and you gonna do this, and we here for you." But then they come behind your back and they talk about you.
Well, the church is its own community within itself.
Yes,
that's for one. I gotta make this super biblical or nothing, but they get a lot of flack because I don't really give church people that much harm time. I kind of give the reverends, the pastors, the people of the denomination, I give them some flack if they have some fallacies with them, even though they're still men and they're still women. Like the flock, as they call it, the church, I don't really buy into that because I tried going to church when I was younger with my family members and stuff. It was discovered early that I would be best fed well with church on Christmas, Easter, holidays. That was it. That was the extent for me because I wasn't getting up every Sunday, and it had nothing to do with being lazy. It was just like, so you mean to tell me the only place that I can worship my God is in this building? I can't be any place else. I can't gather because I thought it was a gathering of 3 or more. That's what it was. So they was like, no, but it's about fellowship. I was just looking like, so I can't have fellowship any place else other than this building? That I gotta pay tithes and the collection plate come along? Yo, let me tell you something real quick. And I don't want to be blasphemed, but I was going through some stuff. And I remember somebody was like, yo, man, I think it's just time for you to go to church. Now, I went to church, and I have my beliefs. I went to church. I said, you know what? I had $5 left to my name. To my name, literally. And the plate came around. I put the $5 in it. Very next week, my car got broken into. I was mad as hell. I was like, yo, you mean to tell me I just tied my last $5 and I still got my car broken into? I messed up because I didn't go to church no more after that. I was like, oh, you done blew it. I was like, you done blow it with me. You done show me what you
lost the way. But not to go, like I said, I don't want to get into the biblical side of it. But I just see that with the black community, a lot of our people, and it's sad because it's older people, will point the finger at our young women And when I say young women, a lot of times you see that happen when you have multiple kids by multiple different men or when they are young. So now you're saying, oh, she's fast or she's out there. Oh, that's an easy catch. Especially in a young man's mindset, we want something easy. Like, I coach girls basketball. And I see we have some attractive young ladies that play basketball, especially now with the Angel Reese's and the way that she presents herself on social media.
Yeah.
Girls follow that. So now they start to dress that same way, want to present themselves that same way. So those male athletes, they want to come after these young ladies. And trust me, I know right now there's some young ladies that as soon as they get out of high school, they have a kid. And they're not with the young man anymore. But would you consider them fast? Would you consider them out there or easy target? A lot of times they will get that, but sometimes they just get caught up doing adult things at a young age.
I also think fast is related to what's going on in your life. Because, like you said, so imagine this. Put this scenario out there. Same young girl, around 16, 17, they have a kid before they graduate high school. But they graduate high school and they have a village, so to speak. They have a village and they're going to keep the kid. I believe somebody will say, then it turns to, oh, she made a mistake. Because she still got things going on.
But who's the person that says she made a mistake?
Oh, no, that could be a lot of people.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that are constantly saying that over and over and over.
Yeah, that could come from a lot of different ways because it's depending on your circumstances. And people on the outside will just be like, oh yeah, she's fast because this happened, this, that, and the third, or whatever. So that's a lot of how that one goes. Whatever. So I don't know. All I know is, ladies and men, if you have multiple kids, you still want to carry yourself a certain way and be who you are. And same with guys. Everything can't just be, well, I just want to knock it down. Because
I was getting ready to ask you that question because what if the roles were reversed? What if you were a male that had multiple kids by multiple different women, and then let's say you were that male that was married and had 2 kids by your wife, and then you get a divorce, and now you're dealing with a new girl. Is it different?
It's a double standard for guys because for the simple fact we don't bear children. It's like we're watering our seeds around. So we can always get around. I had a situation, but I'm sorry, and I want women to take this as a cautionary tale too. Don't be messing with no dude that got multiple kids, multiple different women, and he's never made an honest woman out of none of them. What do you think? He's not going to make you an honest woman either. I'm sorry.
He's about getting that.
There's a chance. Hold up. There's a chance that he might. Slim chance, but it's still a chance, so to speak. Because I've seen women be like, oh, he's got 4 kids. I'm like, what? And I'm like, what in your mind would make you want to deal with a dude that got 4 kids? Now, if it's all about the pipe, go ahead, sister, get piped down. But you can't be taking this dude serious. I'm sorry. That's how I feel about that one.
And I agree with that. So it's kind of funny. Terrance Crawford, going back to Terrance Crawford, where we was originally at.
Okay.
His girlfriend and mother of his 6 children got fat shamed, right? First thing I'm thinking, damn, is she an honest woman? Because guess what? She's still with Terrance Crawford. But guess what? They're not married.
Oh, what?
No. 6 kids.
6 kids from who?
The same woman.
Hold on.
And they're not married.
So you saying Bud got 6 kids from him?
Yes.
And they're not married?
No.
Well, that's all him, and I don't know what the issue is. I'll be honest. That's weird to me. I don't even try to figure it out. Because if you have all your kids from this same woman that you're with, I have no idea why he's not making her an honest woman. First off, I don't really like the term. I hate that term, honest woman, honest man. Like, I don't even know who made it up, and I don't even want to look at it. But that's crazy. I don't know what he wants to accomplish that way because these are your kids. It's like that. This is your legacy. You know what I'm saying? You're well-to-do. Clearly, he can take care of his kids. He's a millionaire. Like that. He just got a big payday and everything. So, That's on him. Maybe Bud knows something that we don't know, and he's just whatever. But hey,
It's a lot, man.
it's a lot going
There's
on.
a lot going on, man. That's all I'm saying. There's just a whole lot going on.
A whole
in
lot
that
going
situation.
on. But yeah, this was fun. This was a good episode of Ocean's View. My man, Willie Negro is out the country.
Having a good time, too.
Great time, man. I'm gonna catch up to you one of these days. I'm gonna have to go to Dubai for like a month. Some crazy shit. We gonna film in Dubai, all of us.
That'd be nice.
That'd be crazy. Well, when I hit this 1.225 billion tonight, Ocean's View will be filming from Dubai on top of the Burj Khalifa.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so, shout out to BSN. Go ahead, let them know where you're gonna be at.
So you can check us out. You already know we got Ocean's View on YouTube. We also will have BSN Presents on YouTube. We will be over there. We've got some things popping. We're getting ready to do our NFL preview show next week to go and break that down. And also we're gonna talk about these NBA contracts and why we are disputing the money that is made by a professional athlete in 2023. Can't get mad at the way that the system is. It's just the way that the game is played. So that's what we got coming up for BSN Presents.
There it is. Ocean's View. See you next week.